Hello and welcome. My name is April. I'm a psychic medium. I wanted to take you along on my little journey of how I discovered I am a psychic medium. I guess I consider myself an evidential psychic medium. So I'm not going to do any cuts or any filters or anything like that. This is just me. This is just raw. This is who I am. This is my experience, my journey, how I got to where I am today, because even saying that out loud about myself, even though I've been saying it for a while now, seems a little bit strange to call myself a psychic medium. First of all, what is a psychic medium? Basically, I consider myself clairvoyant. I communicate with the spirit realm through the different senses within my body, different clairsenses. So predominantly I am clairvoyant, which means clear seeing. So it's kind of like a dream state, a vision, if you will, seeing and feeling and hearing small bits of pieces of information from the spirit realm and communicating the information that I'm receiving to the recipient, the sitter, the person's loved one that I'm communicating with, to provide them evidence that I am in fact speaking to their loved one in spirit, is basically how I like to kind of describe what I do, how I receive information and whatnot. So I don't just say, ooh, I'm sensing a feminine energy around you. This must be a grandmother and she wants to tell you she loves you and she's proud of you. Not vague. It should offer you evidence that I'm directly communicating to your loved one in spirit. If I'm doing mediumship, if I'm doing psychic work, it should make sense to what's going on in your life, things about your personality, true validations to allow you to know that I am communicating with, connecting with your energy and providing you information about, past, present, future. That's more of what like a psychic is. Psychic is like events, past, present, future. It's not necessarily connecting to a past loved one, which is what mediumship is more considered. And I believe my skill in mediumship is a bit more in tune, a bit more developed, I guess you would say. So I think mediumship is my predominant skill or gift or whatever you want to call it. Although I don't want to say that this is a gift and nobody else can do this. I believe everybody can have this ability. It's whether or not we practice, we train, maybe like what level we get to in kind of this development of the skill. It's basically like a muscle. Like everyone can run, but are you going to be an Olympian runner? Or are you just going to kind of jog on occasion every once in a while? It's our God-given right to be able to communicate spiritually. So I truly believe that. And let's get into my journey. I have basically only discovered that I am a psychic medium in March of this year, 2025. But my spiritual journey started about 2 years ago. So I would say that I have had things in my life from a young age to give me inklings about this gift, this quality about myself. I've always been considered sensitive, kind of made fun of for that. As a young child, I always sensed and felt and just knew things. I've just known things. I'm great at giving advice to people. People are attracted to me to talk about the hard things. They come up to me and they're just like, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I've never told anybody this. Like, I've just had that connection with people my whole life. And I've sensed these energies, felt these things around me. And I just thought, like, I'm just overthinking things. Maybe I just watch too many scary movies, or maybe the house that I live in is like haunted or something. So I just thought it was all in my head. I didn't really think anything more than that. So it wasn't until I kind of went through a dark period in my life. Had a lot of loss in my life, lost people close to me, which was very difficult as well. And I wanted to make a better life for myself. I started a career in finance for like 10 years, a successful career. But I ended up being diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I had to quit my job due to all this like stress and everything that was kind of accumulating within my body. This chronic illness that I was dealing with, there's not a cure for it. It causes a lot of pain and fatigue and everything within my body. So I had to leave the career that I had been at for a long time. And it left me to kind of question and wonder, where does my life go from here? I was with my now husband at the time, kind of in between jobs, trying to figure out something that I could do after I had left that career. And I became pregnant. We were very excited. We were just coming into our 30s. And it was just like this whole new sense of purpose. I was like, yay, I wasn't sure if I was going to be a mom or not. I hadn't kind of decided. I'd always wanted it. So it was an unexpected thing. I became pregnant and I was very excited. But because I had this illness, I was managing it with other medications as well. And I was just like still trying to figure things out. And, so a few months kind of went by and I lost the baby, unfortunately. And that was really difficult, a very, very hard time in my life, leading me to, more turmoil and grief and loss and feeling like, where does my life go from now? Yet again. And so my partner at the time, we went on to get married. We had a beautiful wedding. And then we decided to start trying again. And it took a while. I ended up getting diagnosed with another kind of illness due to having to deal with fertility. And yet again, it was like kind of another path of struggle, because after the loss of the baby, it was just like, I know I want to be a mom, and it was like that was the only thing that I was holding on to and kind of wanting to come into my life, and it wasn't happening. It wasn't coming to fruition. So through this journey, I was working another job for a while, and eventually went on to become pregnant. And I was so excited. Yay, we finally had this pregnancy. And it kind of threw me into a tailspin because it led me to all the anxiety and unprocessed, grief and emotions that I had had from the first pregnancy, and the loss and the fear and the constant worrying and wondering if everything was going to be okay. And so kind of throughout that whole journey, I was very worried, very anxious, not myself, but this is kind of when the spiritual essence started to develop. I started to have some sort of connection between the spirit realm again. I was having these feelings of feeling energetic presences around me, and kind of comfort and greater knowing and understanding that I didn't really fully understand, but it was just like my mind was becoming a lot more open. And I had actually, like, during pregnancy, I just knew that I wasn't going to have my baby the typical way. I just had this feeling. I knew it was going to be different, and the doctors were reassuring me like, oh, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And I went on to have a really difficult labor and a quite traumatic birth experience, actually, which led me to kind of what I think is my true spiritual awakening experience. Because this traumatic experience of birth and bringing my daughter into the world, which, thank the Lord, she came into the world, the most precious, beautiful, wonderful gift that I could ever imagine. But it was a very traumatic experience for both her and I, actually. And this ultimately led me to fearing death and dying. So I was going through this immense grief and just dark period again in my life, even when it was supposed to be the happiest part of my life, to bring my daughter into the world. And I was just fearing death and feeling like there was nothingness after I might pass, and the realization of knowing I will leave this world one day, and I'll leave my daughter one day. It was just all so much for me. It was so intense. And again, Spirit was there to comfort me, and I was like learning so much about spirituality, and I couldn't get enough of it. I was just like drinking it all in, trying to learn more and more and more about what was going on with me, why I was experiencing this. And it led me to Reiki. I had gotten I went to a practitioner to perform Reiki on me, which was a great experience in itself. I saw like visuals and felt a lot of things that I can't even put into words, honestly, unless you've experienced these things. This is why all of our spiritual journeys are unique in their own and individual. But this has led me to want to support and share my story and encourage others that are on their journey as well, and let them know they're not alone, and provide as much information as possible. That's why I'm sharing my story. So I went on to learn Reiki myself. That wasn't enough for me. I am now a Reiki master, which means I am the highest level of ability to perform Reiki. I can also teach others how to perform Reiki as well. And then I went on to even more teaching and learning about spirituality, and I became certified in hypnotherapy and spiritual life coaching and intuitive energy healing. And when I started to put my abilities into practice is when I started to realize these abilities of mediumship and psychic abilities into play. This is when things started to come awake for me. I'd be performing, Reiki, and I would just know where people are having pain, what the pain is stemming from, an unexplained way that I would even know these things about them, these things about their life and things that they've experienced. Things about their past loved ones would come through, and they would confirm them, I didn't really understand what was going on. I just thought I was performing Reiki, which is a form of energy healing. But I didn't understand that it brought along actual spiritual communication. So this is when I started to understand there's a bigger picture at play here. There's more going on to the story. And when I started to be able to validate things about people's past loved ones, that's when I was like, okay, something's really going on here. And so I have just kind of followed that practice and that passion, and uncovered as much information and learning more about that skill as possible. And I've gone on to now do hundreds of readings, and it just amazes me every time still, honestly, when I do these readings, because this is just, like I said, it's just like an inner knowing. It's an inner seeing of the messages that Spirit's trying to communicate to me, that I'm able to convey to other people to bring them comfort and validation and evidence that I'm communicating with their loved ones in spirit. I've learned so much in such a short period of time, because I only discovered, so my awakening started about 2 years ago, and I only started understanding and realizing that I'm a medium in March of this year. So the journey's still fresh, the journey's still new. I wanted to share my experience and what led me to where I am today. Now I am offering private readings to people, and I do live readings on TikTok as well. I do a lot of teaching and everything through my content on social media, and I intend to provide more channeled messages and guidance here, to bring information to those of you that are experiencing things like this and maybe feeling a little lost and confused. And I believe it's about creating community and teaching and learning and sharing and not gatekeeping all of the knowledge and things that we're all experiencing and all going through. This is a very difficult journey, a very difficult life, I guess, to lead, because clearly it's quite misunderstood. I'm sure there's still a lot of skeptics listening to my story that don't believe the things that I'm saying, and that's perfectly okay. That's not going to make my voice any quieter. I will continue to speak my experience and my word and share my gift to others and encourage them to develop theirs as well. So thank you all for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.